Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another freaking video. We've got a range DPS tier list for you guys for Season 1. Last one we're going to do for a tier list for Season 1, I think. And then we're going to do some Season 2 predictions, which is going to be super fun, probably in the next week for tanks, DPS, and healers. I'm super excited to see where those go and see if I'm right or wrong later on in the season. But yeah, this is my last tier list for Season 1, where they stand right now, and I think a lot of them are actually going to carry over to Season 2. We'll see. I guess that's kind of a prediction of mine, but yeah, I'm stoked about this. This is gonna be up to the plus 20 key range. That's mostly where my experience lies. So if that Keystone Hero plus 20s and all that jazz, and I mostly pug, so take that in consideration what I see. But we are gonna mention some stuff on Radar.io, maybe some rankings, popularity of the classes, and the highest keys completed. Although we're just kind of doing around up to that plus 20 key range, where I think most of us play dungeons at. I think it is important to consider the highest keys completed, because usually that means that those specs are, you know, meta or gods here. They're insane. They're really good at AoE, single target. They have a lot to their toolkit. So we're going to take that in consideration. But it's going to be super fun. Let me know what you guys think down below. Starting us off, let's go with Beastmastery Hunter, man. I think they're an A tier for sure. High A tier, man. They're so much fun. I've been playing a lot of them. I actually think I'm going to be one of my main alts for next season. I do think they're very easy to pick up. I do have some skill stuff towards the higher end of the ceiling with your pets, but overall they do really good AoE, do good single target damage, keeping your frenzy stacks up. You bring lust, you bring a lot of utility with freeze trap, you have stuns, binding shot. It's just a really good overall spec. I mean, if you're looking for something fun, easy to push some higher content, that is the spec for you. I'm loving it, and it's a great alt to have too, not something too complicated, but like I said, you can do higher content. They're decent in raid as well. They're not in the highest keys completed, but I do think they, like, just because they're so easy, they're easy to execute under hard conditions, you know, whether that be affixes, a tough tank, or maybe a tough healer, or maybe your group's just not coordinating well with your, you know, interrupts, maybe don't know the dungeon as well, especially if you're pugging up that plus 20 key range. So I do think they're high A tier, you know, they're easy to execute well and have fun with, and you can help out your team a ton. And tranquilizing shot, seriously, which won't matter next season, hopefully, as much. Yeah, so high A tier. Devastation Evoker, man, this is a hard one, actually. I think they're actually pretty damn good. I'm gonna put them in high B tier for right now. I think they actually shine more in raid than they do in Mythic Plus, but they do good AoE, good single target. And I was wrong about this spec in the beginning of the season. I thought there wasn't really that high of a skill cap. I think there is a higher skill cap than I gave it credit for. I think if you're just pugging, you're up to that you know, plus 15 key range. You don't really have to know that much of what you're doing to do okay, and probably out DPS some other specs right now, which says just how good they are. But if you do know what you're doing, man, you're gonna top some meters. You're gonna do really well. You do good single target, good AoE. You have lust, you know, as do both of these specs, which I think they're high. Was why part of why they're higher up, you know. They're a lot of fun too. Highly suggest bringing them out, and I think they're gonna do really good next season. Marksmanship Hunter, man. Oh, this is a good one. I'm actually gonna put okay, so they might be A tier. I might wait towards the end here. If we're just looking at range, right, then they might be A tier. I think they do a really good job, even with double tap removed, which sucks. Rip that. They're still really fun. They do really good damage. I've only played a little bit of them this season, but I definitely plan on playing more next season. I think they do really good single target, good AoE, especially if you know what you're doing. I mean, there's just so many people playing Marksmanship Hunters and BM Hunters right now that it's wild. But I think out of the highest keys completed, I think we are seeing BM Hunter beat out Marksmanship, not just in popularity because it's easier, but it's easier to execute well, right, in hard conditions. But they bring a lot of utility again. They don't usually have lust unless they bring out their pet, but usually you'll have to take BM Hunter for that. But they do a good job. You still have, you know, freezing trap, binding trap, you slows, you got interrupts. I mean, there's just so much they bring to the table. Really fun spec. But I would say they're B. I don't think they're as good as BM Hunter. Arcane, man, I think they fall off quite a bit. If we're just looking at range DPS, man, I don't think they're to the level of Devastation and Marksmanship, and I hardly see anybody playing them anymore. Like hardly at all, which is sad to see, because they were shining so much as overall in the beginning of the season. I still think they're a good spec. Maybe we put them in low B. I still think they're a good spec, but they're much better in the raid than they are in Mythic Plus for AoE and everything like that. And I just think Fire brings so much more to the table right now, and Frost with their slows and everything they have, and they all basically have the same utility now. It's not just on Fire's toolkit or Frost. I mean, they just do a great job, but I do think it's not as good as these other two specs. And they definitely do better in raid from what I've seen later on in the season. Fire Mage, dude, I think this spec has got to be, I think, okay, I'm gonna put I'm gonna put it high, above BM Hunter for sure. Obviously, we're seeing that in the highest keys completed. We saw it in the MDI. There's tons of people playing them, which is kind of crazy because in the beginning of the season, they did not do well. They were so bad. I honestly would put Fire Mage and Survival Hunter at the beginning of the season, like, you know, we got OD, you know, send help, do something right now. And they did, man. They've done a really good job. Well, with this spec, not Survival Hunter, but not the BM, but Fire Mage, I think they're in a good spot. They do a great job with AoE. I don't think it's as complicated as it was back in Shadowlands, but maybe that's just me. You do great AoE, but you fantastic single target, and if you execute it well, like it has a very high skill cap, execute it well, dude, you're gonna crank those meters, and that's why we're seeing them in plus 27, plus 28 keys. But they even do well up to that plus 20 key range, for sure. If you've been wanting to play Fire Mage again, or maybe when it's not as complicated as it was in Shadowlands, at least from my opinion, now's the time. They're a blast, super fun to play. I think they're probably the best mage spec right now. Frost, I'm going to put an A tier actually as well, but I'm going to put it below BM Hunter. Much easier to execute than Fire Mage, in my opinion. They do have slows. They bring the same kind of utility they have. Obviously, all three of these have Lust. I think that's why they're not lower on the totem pole here. They have Purge as well. They just bring a lot for their team. A lot of survivability as well, but I think, again, you're seeing Fire Mage beat out Frost Mage with that. They do good damage, good AoE, good single target, just not to the same level of Fire, in my opinion. Man, dude, Ellie Shaman, bro. I actually think this spec is a freaking banger, and we're seeing that. Like, I've been watching all the keys lately. With Trill, he's freaking awesome, great tank. Highly suggest checking him out on Twitch. But he's been playing with this Ellie Shaman. I don't know who it was or whatever. As well, some keys to Temple Jade Serpent and all that stuff. And he's tanking on his monk. And dude, Ellie's really good. I mean, I think they really pump. They just get outshined by enhancement since it's been such a melee focused season. I think that's what we're seeing. But they're a really good spec. I think they're A or high B tier. Okay, dude, are they really like? I'll say, dude, I don't know, man. I think that, okay, if we're just considering range, I think they are A tier. I think they're fantastic, and they're gonna be freaking banger next season. Stormkeeper every 40 seconds? Are you kidding me, dude? They're gonna be so much fun. That's gonna be one of my predictions. That they're gonna be freaking god tier probably. But yeah, Ellie Shaman in a good spot right now. I think you bring a lot to your team. Again, you bring Lust. You have knockbacks, knockups. You have a group stun. You have a CC. I mean, you're off healing. There's so much that you bring to the table here. It's actually incredible. Again, I just think they got shined out by enhancement right now. Hopefully not so much next season, but I do love both those specs, so, you know, it is what it is. But I think they're A tier, in my opinion. Man, Affliction. I actually think Affliction is rising up, man. I think Affliction... Dude, are we really going to put... I think Affliction... Okay, if we're just considering range, I think Affliction maybe is not great, but I don't think they're that bad. Not as bad as they were earlier on in the season. I think they've done a much better job overall. And I would say they're right around the Arcane level with the Mage, but I think they do more damage to AoE and doing pretty good single target damage as well. I've seen a lot more people playing them, but they're not playing them as much as Destruction and Demonology, obviously, because those two specs are crazy. If you're looking at, like, if we're looking at popularity, there's almost 200,000 Demonology Warlocks, 150,000 Destruction Warlocks, and then maybe 60,000 Affliction Warlocks. I think that shows, and obviously the key's completed, but just how well they're doing overall. I actually love Affliction. It's probably my favorite Warlock spec, but I don't think it's to the same level of Destruction and Demonology. Man, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm putting Boomy god tier. They have the highest keys completed at the time of recording. This is Quarter Stars and Shadow Moon Burial Grounds, plus 29s. They're in a lot of higher keys, along with Shadow Priest and Fire Mage. Spoiler alert, but they're just do fantastic AoE. They do good single target. They bring a lot to your team with Solar Beam, grabbing big packs like that, which you are in higher keys. They just do a really good job. Knockbacks, really fun to play. I love their toolkit right now. They even have healing if they need it. They're just super fun to play. Highly suggest checking out Nagura. She's a great freaking streamer that loves to play Boomy. Does a really good job, but she makes some great guides about them as well. But I played them a lot at the beginning of the season. Of plus 14, plus 15, plus 16 keys. Really like them. Really fun to play. I would say they're gods here. But I would say Shadow Priest is above them. Shadow Priest is insane. Now, if we look at the keys completed, right, I think Boomy is actually beating out Shadow Priest and highest keys completed, but overall, I do think Shadow Priest is the best range spec in the game right now, and I think we're going to see, hopefully, that carry over at least at A tier, I think, next season. They're really, really, really good. I mean, they do great damage overall. They're smashing and burning everything in their way. They're very fun to play. I think even up to the plus 20 key range, which is mainly what we're talking about. I think they're a little harder to execute just in pugs than maybe Boomy, Bria Hunter. I think these two are harder to execute in pugs as well, but they do really good when you have a coordinated group when they're talking, when you're talking with your team. But I think they're so good, man. They're a lot of fun. I've been playing mine a lot, especially since I saw the tier set. It looks like for the priest. They're really good. I think they're super fun, and their rework was great. Reworks, and yeah, I think they're S tier. I think they're best range spec in the game. And honestly, I'm hoping they're at least really freaking insane next season, because I will be playing it, guaranteed. Demonology, man. I'm gonna say if this is up to the plus 20 key range, I'm gonna put them in A tier. I think they're really good. I do think they get beat out by Fire Mage. Okay, are we really gonna put Frost? I'm gonna do something like this. Okay, Demonology is really good. Really good spec, super fun. My wife actually mains it. She loves it. Do great AoE, great single target. I love their toolkit. They're very fun. They're not super punished like Destruction, when you have to stand still for a lot of your casting. Demonology can move around because they have their pets, they have their demons, you know? So a little less punishing, especially if you're pugging, if that plus 20 key range. I just think they're fantastic spec to play, and I think this is going to carry over. I've been watching some Kalamazzi stuff. He is an insane streamer, again, for Warlock. Overall, plays all 3 specs. He's been doing some raid testing, which is super fun to see, and how these specs are doing. He's talked a lot about Demonology and what's going to be favored, and I think just because they bring all the same toolkit, right? We have all the same toolkit. You've got gateways, you've got hellstones. They're super tanky, right? But just because they're not so punished as Destruction when you have to move around, especially if you're looking at that plus 20 key range, that I think that's why they're A tier, and that's why I'm gonna put Destruction probably in high B tier. I think they're fantastic. I think they're even better in raid, to be honest, than Demonology. But in Mythic Plus, they do have uncapped. I don't know. I still think that Destruction is a fantastic spec. I just don't think it's as good. No, I'm putting them A tier. I'm putting them A tier. I lied. Demonology is better, but Destruction is really good. I think they're in a really good spot. I think they're very fun to play. Obviously, they bring the same toolkits here. Super tanky. A lot of ways to help out your team. Uncapped AoE, really good single target. They're really good. I just think Demonology is better and less punishing, especially if that plus 20 key range. This might change, obviously, if you're doing higher keys, but I'm going to say, though, what we're seeing Shadow Priest, right? Shadow Priest, Boomy in the highest keys, Fire Mage in the highest keys, and Ellie Shaman in the highest keys, which is crazy if we're just looking at ranged. And then I think later on you start to see some Warlocks, which is why they're here. Maybe Ellie Shaman isn't quite to the same level as these. Okay, let's move this. This is the final ranking. I'm going to stand by this one. This is where I think they stand right now at the end of Season 1. And then I'm going to do some prediction videos, like I said, for Season 2. I'm super excited about them. Hope you guys are enjoyed Season 1. I've actually thought Dragonflight's been a banger of a freaking expansion so far, and I am pumped for Season 2 and what they do, or what they're doing, and they're giving a lot of feedback. So hopefully some of these specs rise up. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!